So Jamaica finished in second place in CONCACAF World Cup qualifying in Group B, and that means they will not automatically qualify for the World Cup. And I felt like I had to come on here and talk to you guys about it. Now, I seriously have no plan for this video. I'm kind of just going to get on here and talk about my opinion about Jamaica not qualifying in first place of the group with you guys. But of course, before I do, let me know your opinion in the comments down below. And before that one person wants to comment, you don't know what you're talking about, you're completely wrong. What do you know about Jamaican football? We cover Jamaican football extensively on the channel. And I'm going to be honest, I consider myself a fan. I consider myself a supporter. That's why I have this kit. That's why I'm wearing the Jamaican kit to work today, actually underneath my hoodie here. And I really was looking forward to watching Jamaica qualify in first place, going to the World Cup. We did a live stream for this one. I was really hoping by the end of it, we'd watch Jamaica go forward in first place and not into the Intercontinental Playoff. But unfortunately, we're not. Curacao took first over Jamaica instead, and no shade to Curacao. They did a fantastic job. They deserve all the congratulations, and it is a huge feat for them to have gotten first place out of this group and go to their first ever World Cup. But come on, that was without a doubt supposed to be Jamaica's group. I mean, you look back on the predictions video once this draw came out, and 9 out of 10 people were saying Jamaica need to finish on top, and we were one of those people. We always knew that Curacao and or Trinidad and Tobago were gonna put up some sort of fight, right? We don't know what that was gonna look like, but knowing what those teams were building up to this summer, knowing what Jamaica was kind of not reaching in terms of their ceiling, we knew that they were going to be able to do something. And everybody was calling this group the easy group for the obvious group leaders in Jamaica, compared to like Panama's group in Group A, where they had to face, Guatemala, who had a really good Gold Cup over the summer, Suriname, who's been on the come up, even El Salvador was going to cause some problem there. And then in Group C, you had Costa Rica, who I know they finished in third place, and that was even worse than Jamaica's here, but they had Honduras to deal with, which is a very tough one. And obviously we can see in Haiti, which I've always said was going to be a problem. And I think they finally showed they were going to be. And then they finished in first place. Now they're going to the World Cup. But Jamaica had Trinidad and Tobago, Curacao, and Bermuda. Now, Bermuda is by far and away the worst team in this entire round. No shade to Bermuda. That is just the case. And if you look at Jamaica's team and what they've been building towards, and the players have been getting it from dual nationality wise and whatnot, this was supposed to be Jamaica's group. I don't want to see anybody in the comments being like, oh, Curacao was always going to be between, Jamaica and Curacao or whatever. That just wasn't the case. This was supposed to be Jamaica's group. So I am sitting here left, I would say, pretty disappointed and very much so let down by the Reggae Boyz performance. And that's okay. You guys can feel that as well. It's okay to be disappointed in how they performed, because they should be disappointed. We all should be disappointed as fans. And now there's a chance that Jamaica doesn't even go to the 2026 World Cup. They have to play in the playoff against teams like Bolivia, New Caledonia, Democratic Republic of Congo, Iraq, and there's one more team I forget. Oh, and Suriname. It's Suriname, obviously. So they have to beat at least 2 of those teams to get into the World Cup now. And will they do that? I don't know. We'll talk about that in the later video. And I want you guys now to let me know in the comments down below who you think is at fault for Jamaica not making the World Cup. And my answer is going to be everyone involved. It's not just one person. It's not the players entirely. It's not the Steve McLaren, the coach, entirely. It's not the JFF entirely. I do think it's a mixture of all three. But now that I mentioned his name again, let's talk about Steve McLaren, who minutes after the match read his already typed out and printed letter saying that he was going to resign from this position, which there's no way he typed that up in about 5 minutes, printed it out, and went to a press conference right after and gave that speech. No, he was ready to do this if they lost. I think this was always a plan for him, and of course we'll never know, but this was always a plan if they didn't make it to the World Cup, that in first place here, that he was going to resign, which I think is a pretty crappy attitude. I mean, why would you prepare for that? Why not just go into it guns blazing, only looking at that making the top of the group? But Steve McLaren quit before the Intercontinental Playoffs. Jamaica aren't even fully out of this running for the World Cup as a CONCACAF team. They still have a chance. And Steve McLaren decided to, right after the game, just abandon the team. Now, I'm not going to say I'm super upset. I think, Steve McLaren has been on the out for a long time, and you could argue that he should have been fired after the Gold Cup performance. But no, he stuck around, whether you like it or not. And for me, at this point, you already got them to the Intercontinental Playoff in second place of Group B. You might as well have stuck it out. Now Jamaica are left with no manager, about 4 months of preparation, and that's, preparation. It's international football. They're not meeting every single week for training and whatnot. There's no preparation involved, really. 2 teams here, 2 really tough teams who have the same aspirations as them to make the World Cup. You might as well have stayed. Win or lose, you might as well have stayed. But regardless, the Steve McLaren era of Jamaica is over. Maybe we see something happen here with Jamaica, but it's not just Steve McLaren's fault. Like I said, I think the players, if I'm being honest, there's a lot of players out there who are performing way below their actual level. It is very clear to me that Steve Steve McLaren also was not able to breed a really good group of team chemistry built players, if that makes sense. So these players, you could tell, they go on the pitch and they don't play with each other. Now, that's down to both, I think, the players' relationships with each other and how Steve McLaren was able to teach it. Or not able to teach it, actually. Because all Steve McLaren wanted them to do was to go out there and kick the ball from the defense to the attack. I mean, I can maybe count on my hands the amount of midfield triangles that were developed over the course of the past year. And how many times have we been complaining about the midfield? Every single Jamaican video I do, talking about the roster, talking about the squad, the setup, or anything, I have to complain about this midfield. This midfield has been a problem for Jamaica for years now, at least as long as we've been covering it, which is almost 2.5 years. This midfield has not gotten better. And, you can say that maybe they don't have the talent for it. Maybe they don't have the personnel for it. They do. They could. There are plenty of players that, if you want to keep going on this dual national switch train, you might as well bring some over, like do John Sterling. You have Tyrese Hall already, might as well use them. But they would rather just put center backs into the DM role where they're not used to playing, or hardly play with any midfield at all, according to Steve McLaren at least, which was very obvious in the last game against Curacao, in my opinion. It's very clear that the tactics here were just give it to a winger like Cephas, Gray, or Bailey, which by the way, Bailey wasn't even part of this round, and just hope that they can create something. Cephas, that worked sometimes. Cephas is really good dribbling the ball, taking it to the goal and scoring a goal, but you cannot rely on solo efforts like that to make the World Cup. In my opinion, over this entire round, there was zero improvement whatsoever to get to this point. I mean, those last two matches in general, Trinidad and Tobago completely outshot Jamaica. And that is a big issue for me, is being content with these results. I feel like, there's a lot of times the Jamaican national team had a poor or very, very mid result that, okay, maybe we should do better the next time. And then you just don't see any passion for the players for wanting to do better. And then talk about that Curacao game too. I mean, Jamaica had to win. They had to score one. And yes, I know they hit the post/crossbar 3 different times. That is insanely unlucky and very, very unfortunate. But you can't even get one. This team doesn't create, and they don't really score these chances. They only have 11 goals in this ground, which is great. 8 of those were against Bermuda. 3 goals in 4 other games against your biggest rivals in this group. That is completely disastrous for this team. And you cannot make the World Cup playing like that. And then, of course, the JFF. I mean, everybody knows how the Jamaican Football Federation doesn't necessarily help their case either. They make a lot of bad decisions. As far as I know, they're doing a lot of things behind the scenes that, prevent this team from getting a lot better. And maybe the impact of Steve McLaren's time with Jamaica, I don't know. I don't know the behind the scenes too well. I just know from what I'm reading here. But there's a lot of names in the backroom staff and in the corporate staff for the JFF too that are really hindering this team. I just don't get how you obviously have the best team on paper, club-wise, individual-wise, personnel-wise, in this group, and you can't make first place. And it's not like they were doing really, really good and then they kind of faltered towards the end like Honduras. I feel like Jamaica haven't really looked good against the biggest teams that much. They've had some good performances, but there's only so many performances from Jamaica where you can be like, oh, they should have won that. Oh, that Jamaica should have gotten that win there. They're unlucky. They're unfortunate. Blah blah all this stuff. They didn't make the World Cup, and I feel like I honestly really don't want to see any more excuses for Jamaica's performance other than they sucked and they didn't do as good as they needed to have done, which is very clear as day obvious to me. I don't want to hear anything about the refs. I don't want to hear anything about anything else. This needs to be held accountable by the players, by the organization, by the coach, which obviously was Steve McLaren. He's already gone. He dipped already, so he doesn't have to hold any more accountability. But this is very clearly Jamaica's fault. And I think, again, I said at the beginning of the video, it is very okay to be disappointed by this team. There were a lot of people talking to us on stream in our comment section who were very confident that Jamaica was going to get this win. And I'm going to be honest, I held a lot of doubt going into the last game just because I haven't seen enough to say, oh yeah, Jamaica's going to get this win. And they proved it to me. Jamaica do Jamaica things where they get to a point where they're supposed to be really good and they can take that last step to become finally a good CONCACAF opponent, and then they shoot themselves in the foot, or they don't even try shooting anything. So now we're sitting here making this video talking about how Jamaica might not even make the 2026 World Cup, but a team like Curacao might, but a team like Haiti might, but a team like Suriname might. I think that is very disappointing. That is very telling of where Jamaica is as a country right now. And it is unfortunate that we might be waiting until 2030 to see them in their first World Cup since 1998. And to end this video, I'm not saying all this just to like spew hate about Jamaica or shit talk Jamaica. This is coming from a place of love for the team, place of passion and time and money invested into this team over the course of the past few years. We really do adore this team and the team's fans and everything surrounding this team, which I think gives us the right to say that we're disappointed. I am disappointed, and I'm very scared about what the next 4 years of Jamaica are going to look like. Now, this certainly won't be the last time we're talking about Jamaica in any way, shape, or form. We're going to do some more videos in the near future talking about their performance and other teams' performance in the World Qualifiers and whatnot. And of course, when the Intercontinental Playoff comes around, we will do content regarding that. So make sure you guys are still sticking around, liking the video, subscribing, and all that, so you know when those get released. Leave your opinion in the comments down below so I get to read how you feel about Jamaica's performance in this World Cup qualifying round. And I do hope that these next videos regarding Jamaica will be in a more positive light, and maybe we still see them go to the 2026 World Cup, and almost all it would be forgiven. That is going to be it for me today, guys. My name is Elijah. I'm part of Getting Football. Again, if you haven't subscribed, make sure to do so down below, and hopefully we'll see you guys in future videos. Take care.